So I think it's fair to call it chaos at the Georgia Capitol tonight as lawmakers race the clock to pass bills that impact families statewide.
Now, Republicans tell Atlanta News First some bills are getting blocked unless lawmakers pick a side in the governor's race. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is running the Georgia Senate while also running for governor. And some lawmakers say those rules are now colliding. Republican sources say Jones has been meeting with lawmakers pushing for endorsements while some bills are being reassigned late in the session. Lawmakers say those moves can make or break legislation. Some even question whether politics could be impacting which bills move forward.
I would say that the timing is conspicuous to lead someone to that conclusion if they would want to.
There's people in the House that are afraid to endorse me because they're afraid their bill.
Jones's campaign is pushing back, calling those claims an excuse and pointing to his support across the state. With just days left in the session, lawmakers now worry politics could start impacting major issues, including the state budget, and even raise the possibility of a special session.
If you